Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. So today, it's been a long time since I've done one of these reaction videos to TikTok and things on Instagram. So all of you tag me in so many things and send me so many things, which I'm very, very grateful for. Let me just ask a favor of you though. Please don't comment on people's content with things like sick faces and, oh, Robert, you'll hate this. Just at me, because I like to think the way I do it is constructive criticism. I will never comment on somebody's personal image. I'm not looking to offend the person as an individual. We're talking about makeup technique and how realistic it is in real life for people. That's all it is. So please don't tie my name to your hate comment on someone else's content. Okay, so saying that, if you've never been here before, my name's Robert. I'm a professional makeup artist here on YouTube and also in real life, and it's my goal to help you become a pro yourself or just someone who's really good at makeup. And sometimes that means separating what we see online versus reality. And I know a lot of people like to say there are no rules to makeup. I like to think that creativity and individuality have no rules, but makeup most definitely has a theory. And this is for people who want to learn that theory. If you don't want to, keep doing you. But I know for a fact there's a lot of people out there who the kind of TikTok and Instagram makeup theory doesn't work for you, because most of the time it's just clickbait, and we're here to kind of separate that and see what is actually achievable and what's actually doable and what is actually workable in real life. Okay, so let's do it. Let's just get straight into it and take a look at our first video. Yeah, that's cool. So I think, where did I say this? I think I said this the other day, but I think when we talk about trying to keep makeup under our eyes looking as natural as possible and as stable as possible, we tend to put a lot of powder underneath and we forget about the moisture aspect. Here's the thing with eyelids, right? We have really oily eyelids majority of the time, so we need to make sure that area is oil-free-ish for our eye makeup, so we use eye primers. Whereas under the eye, it's completely different. We want the exact opposite. We want to keep it hydrated. When we put on too much powder, we're still sucking that moisture out of the eye area. So when we can get those fine little lines, and this is why I personally don't like baking, for example, because I think it dehydrates under the eye area. And I know there's a lot of you out there that baking doesn't work for you. So you can absolutely try mixing your concealer with a hydrating product. Another great thing about this video is the tone of concealer. A pink tone concealer is great at color correction under the eye if you just want a slight color correction, and you can go on top with a tiny bit of a lighter one to brighten the eye. So color correct with one that's a little bit pinker, brighten with something that's a lighter concealer. Yeah, that's a good tip too. So like false lashes, we go for those ones that lift in the corner to give us an uplift on the eye area. So yeah, I don't see why you couldn't do the same with mascara. I wouldn't personally leave it inside completely blank. I would maybe shade with a darker eyeshadow just to add still that kind of depth, because that depends on eye shape as well. If you have it too light in here and too dark here, it can make your eyes look further out, and for those who want their eyes to look a little bit further in, you know, it does the opposite. So balance it out with something still a little bit darker, but the uplifted lash is always in comparison going to make it look like that. Fox eyes, let's stop pulling our eyes like that. I'm just going to say that there. If your makeup hack or your makeup technique is meant to uplift the eye, then what's the need to then further stretch it out like that? Yeah, don't do that. Let's stop doing that. Okay. Who needs that? That's 5 minute craft level there. So here's the thing. Here's why I really don't like that. First of all, cutting your own hair and making it into a hairbrush. You don't know what kind of oils are on your hair. Second of all, makeup brushes aren't just a bundle of hair that is glued on the end and they're like, yeah, that will do. Makeup brushes are cut in certain shapes. They are cut in certain ways. They are tapered, they're angled, you know, there's all these different things. Fibers are different. The weight of a brush is different. The balance of a brush is different. They're a little bit more complex than that. You also have to get the correct density of brush, otherwise it becomes completely useless. So for example, a big fan brush like this, although it's fanned out and spaced out, look at this metal bit here. It's clamping the hair there. So when you do push back, there's still some pressure on the application on the brush. Whereas if you just had hair sticking, there's nothing here to stop it from just full on folding. So you don't get that pressure from the hairs. Brushes are a lot more complex than that. I think that's a really terrible idea. And who needs a pen that's also a makeup brush? I mean, I'm a makeup artist and I don't need a pen that's a makeup brush. Who else is going to need that? No, because of the shape of a spoon. So if your eye shape curves with that shape of a spoon, great. But when you're doing a cut crease, you ideally want it to go with the shape of the eye. It's complementary to eye shape. You can change it slightly, but notice that the shape on this spoon, it kind of goes flat as it goes out to the end, whereas really we want that nice curve, or it goes straight up and out, you know? It's not really, that spoon shape isn't really complementary to eye shape. I even think that has been touched up afterwards because the shape of that cut crease afterwards is more rounded, whereas, like I said, the spoon looks more straight across, so I don't think that is a true hack. Let's stop it there because I think I know where I was tagged in this one. Color correction, again, under the eye. If you want to use that much, you absolutely don't need to use that much. Color corrector under the eye. Position. Okay, so what does orange color corrector cancel out? Darkness under the eye. The reddy tones of orangey tones cancels out anything in that bluey purple spectrum that that sits right here, that comes from blood just sitting in that area there. That's why it's darker under there, or pigmentation under the eye. Why are we putting it here and then not even blending it up to the eye? That is unnecessary color correction at its like highest. It should be under your eye, directly under your eye, because what are you color correcting in this case? Your normal skin color. And so then why just in that area, and why so much? Let me just start off by saying I love the way that she says in this, on camera. They do look huge on camera. They look really big on camera. In real life. Okay, so this is the only way I can think how to explain this kind of overdrawing. And I've seen people do this in real life. I've seen people walk around with that lip line that's that much higher than their actual natural lip line. Okay, so let's take Trixie Mattel as an example. Very overdrawn lips because it's meant to be exaggerated. She's a drag queen, so it's meant to be that way. But you can clearly see where the natural lip line ends and where that colour, that gap of colour is. So that's what that looks like in real life. That's that exaggerated overdrawn lip. Trixie Mattel is a drag queen. It's a character. It's a costume almost. So that again looks great on stage, on camera. So I'm very happy she said on camera. And does it work on camera? Of course it does. In real life, you're going to see that divide. You're going to see where the ridge lifts and then goes flat, and then you're going to, no one's lip goes up and then flat and then finishes there. You know what I mean? It gets worse when you put gloss on it. I was tagged in this so many times. This works, and here's why. Right, let me explain first. So again, this is a what's it called? What do people say? Hack. That isn't like a new hack. It's a very old technique. And this is, I'm gonna age myself quite a bit here, but this is something we used to do back in the day when we didn't have so much choice in a good matte lipstick. There was, if you wanted a really matte velvet red, there was one choice of lipstick, and that was MAC Ruby Woo. But even then, trying to paint that on a client was really difficult because it is so matte. They could do it themselves, but you know when you just want to be perfect. So you could always take a matte lipstick. And here's the thing. You would need a 2-ply tissue and then split the ply, whatever it's called. So you have like this really thin tissue. We would then put it over a lip or over the lipstick, and then you would tap powder. The tissue wouldn't be breaking because they shouldn't be talking. And that will make the lip matte. So let me show you this way she did it. One sec. Let me use a red. So I'm going to go for the Juvia's Place. This is called Afric, which is like a deeper tone red. A really nice colour, actually. And then she used quite a fluffy brush. I'm actually going to go for a denser one because I really want to push that colour through. And it's almost like you need that pressure. So I'm going to use the Rare Beauty concealer brush. It looks dirty, but it's not. That's just the hairs. There you go. And then the colour comes through. The only thing that's a little bit dodgy about this hack is precision. So especially with a colour like this. But if you grab concealer, where's my concealer thing? But then you can grab your brush that you did with your concealer or your foundation and get that ombre lip. So it really does work. Yeah, I wasn't surprised at this hack at all. It's because it's an old technique and one that actually really does work.
Here's a quick baking tip. Number 1, bake, obviously. It's been sitting for about a minute. Take the same brush you use your bronzer with and then tap it into your skin. Don't brush it away because that defeats the purpose. Tap it into your skin. And the reason I said use your bronzer brush is because it will not leave that white cast because it still has a little bit of color on the brush. So that's how you avoid that heavy white cast. So we're going to just keep tapping in until it is all gone. And then you can brush away and you still have a little bit of color down there.
I hate baking, but what a great tip. That is such a good tip. So, I always think, she said about the white cast, I see it all the time. And actually sometimes it looks grey. It has this undertone of grey to it and it looks awful. You can always tell when someone's baked because this area here looks grey and horrible. So to use that leftover bronzer to add warmth to those areas is such a good idea. That's a really, really nice idea. I don't know why people bake down here. If you want that harsh, do people get oily there? If you want that harsh line, why don't you just use concealer instead of using loads of powder? Because it's such a horrible texture. Just a question.
Asked me to do this, and I will gladly sacrifice having uneven bronzer today just to show you guys the difference. I'm gonna do this side the way that I do it, and then this side how like I used to do it and how I think most people do it. So this is how I do it, right up on the temple. And what I used to do is put it way down here, like where my cheekbone would end. I haven't blended it out, but you can already see the difference. And these are all the same products that I used in the original video. Okay, so this is just the bronzer. I haven't done the blush yet, but there's the difference. So for blush on this side, I'm focusing it more towards my temple and blending up as I showed you guys before. And for this side, I'm gonna do my blush how I used to do it. So just on the apples of my cheeks. Okay, so this is how I used to do it. It's fine, it's cute, whatever. This is how I do it now. It definitely changes the way that my cheekbone shadows look. It doesn't weigh my face down. I'll just let you look for a sec. See the difference. I don't think anybody can deny that this side is way less flattering for my face compared to this side. I love her.
Yeah, that looks great. Here's why, especially on her, she does have a rounder face, although she has that very nice, almost like V-shaped jawline. It is a little bit rounder, so putting her blush in that area here, apples of cheeks here, accentuates roundness in the face. That's something I would do on maybe someone who has a very long face, who wants a rounder face. But when she puts it on the other side, it stretches and it lifts. That's a really, really good tip. I really, really like that. Yeah, let's do one more.
So I'm going to use Cork Lip Liner by MAC. So when I'm applying lip liner, I like to
outline it and then kind of shade in the outer corners. Like that. And I like to pat the lipstick rather than rub. So I'll do that throughout the whole lip. And I also like to take my finger and just kind of like melt everything together. Then I'm going to take Love Nectar lip gloss from MAC and add that. This is when you can shade back in with the lip liner. So obviously I don't have a full face on or lashes or anything or foundation, but this is how you can totally transform a lipstick with lip liner, and it makes such a big difference.
Another really good tip. I prefer this technique to make your lips look bigger over overdrawing. Just by shading in the outside corners, you can really make your lips look huge. So deepen these corners here, deepen these corners here. Make sure you get right into these corners here. And then like triangles, like 4 triangles in the outside corner. Line your lip as normal, line your bottom lip as normal. But I do kind of like to bring the dark down a little bit so it doesn't just look like a solid line. Apply lipstick to the middle, just like she did there, and tap it and blend that all together. It looks absolutely amazing. It looks more realistic. It goes with a real lip shape, but you have that comparison of light and dark to accentuate each other and make your lips look much bigger. Okay, so that was it for our TikTok and Instagrams. What are they called? Reels. Thank you so much for joining me. If there's anything that you really liked in that video out of those hacks, then please do let me know. I have a whole playlist for these reaction videos to TikTok. Some of them don't go as well as this. Usually I hate every single hack that's happening. But check that out. I'll leave it right at the end here for you. Thanks again for joining me. Please consider subscribing and give this video a big thumbs up. And I will see you very soon. Bye.